Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 80, written by user sososkinny. In a restaurant, receives their order. 2 containers there was, he knew with certainty, or so he thought. This literally just happened to me like an hour ago, and I'm still in disbelief that it actually happened. Me, 22, and my sister, 18, went to go get some food from the restaurant Noodles & Co., which is a pretty popular food chain here in Metro Detroit. I ordered my food to go, and my sister didn't get anything except a drink to go. We're waiting for my food. My sister already got her drink. Her and I are just talking when we noticed an employee put 2 bowls of food in a bag. Keep in mind that both me and my sister saw him cook the food, put it in the bowls, and put the bowls in the bag. Then he calls out, "Order for Matt," which had to be me since we were the only ones in there. My sister and I knew the order couldn't be right though, because he put 2 bowls in there and I only ordered 1 entree. I decided I would check the food when I got back to the car, to make sure at least one of the bowls was mine, and I was going to give the other one back. As we're walking back to the car, my sister says to me, "I don't think that's your order because you didn't get 2 entrees. I told her I thought so too. I peeked in the bag to check the food, but I couldn't see it properly while walking, so I waited till I sat in the car to look. This next part is crazy. We get into the car and I go to grab the bowls out, and I just about pooped my pants. There was only 1 bowl in the bag. I just stared at my sister with my jaw dropped because we both saw him put 2 bowls in that bag and then hand it to me. I'm gonna be honest, I've seen many posts on this page I find hard to believe sometimes, but after having that happen to me, I have a new outlook on life, it feels like. It's such a small glitch, but it literally just can't be explained, and I'm shook for life. Case notes, file number 80. Indeed, it's a simple glitch, yet it strikes your brain like a spiked baseball bat, doesn't it? I've mentioned it prior, but the only proper glitch that I know happened to me was when I was throwing a ball around, and suddenly it just didn't exist anymore. Nowhere to be seen. Literally was impossible, similar to your situation of an item you know should have been there, but wasn't. You're lucky in a way though, because your sister was there to confirm. It helps you feel less crazy, no doubt. Case file number 81, written by user Anonymous. This story is of sobriety, a penny, and my grandfather. I have to explain some things first. My grandfather was an alcoholic. He began drinking due to the war, World War II, at age 22. The stress of combat got to him. He later became sober in his early 50s after immigrating to America. I never knew him as an alcoholic, as he was sober by the time I was born into this world. But I had heard brutal stories from my mother and aunts. I always felt incredibly connected to him. My mother and aunt used to remark all the time about how similarly I carried my mannerisms and speech. I would, and still do, have unexplainable dreams of him and his experiences both during his life and after he passed. Once he had died, my mom and aunt would cry anytime I would remind them of him because of their own grief. Fast forward to my own life. I began drinking at age 18, and by 24, had developed a pretty bad drinking problem that directed me to several near-death experiences and hospital trips. It was burning down everything it touched in my life. By the time I was 28, it had reached an all-time low, and I was finally at my wit's end. My options were to quit, or die, or kill myself. One thing my grandfather did frequently when I was growing up was offer me loose change, usually pennies, as a joke, and then promptly gave me a crisp $20 bill as the big reveal. After he died, I felt like I would find heads-up pennies in strange places at odd times. Pennies I swore I didn't recognize as being there before. This became something my mother and I enjoyed reporting to each other about. It was a fun way to think of him, although I'm very skeptical of these things and not really a believer in the paranormal. Despite that, I loved calling my mom up to tell her that I'd find a heads-up penny moments after getting a raise at work, and other events of that nature. For this story, the night was August 9, 2018. My fiance and I were staying up waiting for midnight to come, because at midnight I would finally be free of the bondage of addictions, marking my first full year completely dry, something I could have only dreamed of before then. We were sitting on the couch reminiscing of the hard times and the good times. We were just holding each other and laughing, sometimes crying too. It was a wonderful evening. Finally, the alarm on my phone went off, signifying it was midnight and that my victory had arrived. About half a second to a full second after I silenced the alarm, we heard a coin hit the floor in the kitchen. It startled both of us. My fiance in particular jumped because the house was silent. I got up and walked over to the kitchen. There on the floor, seemingly grinning at me, was a heads-up penny. The shock and disbelief and feelings of utter warm joy cannot be described in this post. I felt as if my skeptical world and connection with reality had glitched in such a way that I never experienced before, and still have not experienced since. I sat down on the couch and immediately dialed my mother. To my surprise, she answered immediately and said she had also been waiting up for midnight to come so she could call me and congratulate me. I stopped her abruptly and explained to her in sharp detail what had just happened, and said I had my fiancé sitting with me as my witness. A silence came over the line, followed by my mother sobbing into the phone. "Oh, Daddy, Daddy," she sobbed into the phone. We both sat there on the line, crying, laughing, and embracing the warm feeling of the moment. Ever since that night, I've stopped finding pennies in strange places. I don't know what really happened, but I sure do think of it every day. This August, I will be 3 years bone dry sober, and I'm set to marry my best friend this summer. Case notes, file number 81. Congratulations on the upcoming nuptials. This was a beautiful tale. The force of our loved ones, whoever we're connected to and who connects with us back, it seems to persist throughout death, in mechanisms we don't fully understand. I mean, we have quantum immortality, we have ghosts or echoes of past loved ones, but there seems to be even more. But that's okay, we don't understand everything yet, but we can appreciate these moments. We can continue to love each other fiercely, and delight in these hints they leave behind for us. They're like little nudges to know they're still paying attention to our stories unfolding. Truly beautiful. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And if you're new around here, I have a lot more content on my channel.